Minjun's hand trembled as Zara's fingers traced the scar on his chest. "You think power makes you a man?" she whispered, her dark eyes burning into his. "Then why are you still broken?" He couldn't answer. Because for 2 years, the most feared mafia boss in Seoul had been unable to feel anything. Until this stunning black woman with curves that defied logic and a voice that unraveled every wall he'd built. She leaned closer, her full lips inches from his. "I see you, Kang Minjun. The real you. The one you're hiding." And just like that, something inside him stirred. Welcome to Afro-Korean Love Stories. If you're loving this story, hit that like button and subscribe, because what you're about to watch would leave you speechless. Tell me in the comments which city you're watching from. I'd really love to know. Now, let's dive into it. 3 months earlier, Minjun sat in his private office overlooking the Han River, staring at the pill bottle his doctor had prescribed. Another useless remedy. Another reminder of his failure. At 38, he controlled half of Seoul's underground empire. Politicians trembled at his name. Rival gangs disappeared at his command. But none of that mattered anymore. Not when he couldn't even function as a man. The ambush 2 years ago had left more than physical scars. When his lieutenant betrayed him, when the bullets tore through his body and he watched his brother die in that warehouse, something fundamental broke inside him. The doctors said there was nothing physically wrong, but his body refused to respond. To anyone. To anything. He'd tried everything. Pills. Therapy. Even traditional medicine from a shaman his mother insisted would help. Nothing worked. And in his world, weakness meant death. His phone buzzed. A message from his underboss, Jin Ho. "American investor arriving tonight. The art deal. Club Artemis. Your presence required." Minjun sighed. Another night of pretending to be the man everyone feared. Another night of feeling absolutely nothing. Club Artemis pulsed with expensive excess. Crystal chandeliers. Silk curtains. Women and men who cost more per hour than most people earned in a month. Minjun sat in his private booth, surrounded by his men, watching the crowd with dead eyes. Jin Ho leaned close. The American investor just arrived. Interesting choice they sent. Minjun barely looked up. Then he saw her. She moved through the crowd like water, confident and unhurried. Skin the color of rich mahogany. Hair in long braids that cascaded down her back. And a body that made every head turn, curves that seemed impossible, real and unapologetic. She wore a gold dress that hugged every inch of her, and when she walked, it was like watching art in motion. But it was her face that held him. High cheekbones. Full lips curved in a slight smile. Eyes that sparkled with intelligence and something else. Mischief, maybe. She wasn't intimidated by this place. By these people. By anything. "Her name is Zara Johnson," Jin Ho whispered. 29. Contemporary art dealer from New York. Worth about $50 million. She's here to finalize the purchase of the Kim collection for her client. Minjun watched as Zara laughed at something her assistant said. A real laugh, not the manufactured kind he heard every day. She had a champagne flute in her hand, and she was heading toward the bar, right past his booth. Then it happened. Someone bumped her. The champagne glass tilted. And before anyone could react, cold liquid splashed across Minjun's chest, soaking through his $5,000 Tom Ford shirt. The entire club went silent. Everyone knew what happened to people who disrespected Kang Minjun. Jin Ho's hand moved to his jacket. The guards tensed. But Zara looked down at him, at the spreading champagne stain, and she laughed. Not nervously, not apologetically. A genuine, amused laugh that echoed in the sudden silence. "Well," she said, her voice rich and melodic with an American accent. "That's one way to make an impression." She grabbed a napkin from a nearby table and held it out to him. Not afraid. Not cowering. Just present. Their eyes met. Minjun felt something he hadn't felt in 2 years. A flutter. A spark. Something. "You're either very brave or very stupid," he said quietly in English. Zara's smile widened. "I prefer confident." She dropped the napkin on the table. "Zara Johnson. And you must be the man everyone's afraid to look at directly. That must get exhausting. No one spoke to him like this. Ever. Jinho looked ready to break her neck. But Minjun raised his hand, stopping his men. You ruined my shirt, he said. Send me the bill, Zara replied, turning to walk away. I'm good for it. Then she paused, glanced back over her shoulder. Or you could take it off. Looks uncomfortable. And she walked away, hips swaying, completely unbothered. Minjun sat there, champagne dripping down his chest, feeling something he thought was dead forever. Curiosity. Want. Life. Jinho stared at Minjun like he'd lost his mind. Boss, she disrespected you in front of everyone. Let me handle this. But Minjun was already standing, peeling off his wet shirt, revealing the maze of scars across his chest and abdomen. Battle wounds. Reminders of the night everything changed. No, he said quietly. Set up a meeting. Tomorrow. I want to discuss the art deal personally. Jinho's eyes widened. Minjun never handled these meetings personally. Boss, are you? Tomorrow, Minjun repeated, his voice dropping to that dangerous tone everyone recognized. The conversation was over. That night, alone in his penthouse, Minjun couldn't sleep. He kept seeing her face. That smile. The absolute fearlessness in her eyes. And for the first time in 2 years, he felt something other than numbness. It terrified him. The meeting was set for his private gallery, a converted warehouse in Gangnam where he kept his legitimate art collection. When Zara walked in the next afternoon, she wore a cream pantsuit that somehow made her curves even more devastating. Her braids were pulled back, showing off her elegant neck. She looked powerful, successful, completely out of his league, which was absurd because he was Kong Minjun. He owned this city. Mr. Kong, she said, extending her hand. Professional. Cool. Like last night never happened. He took her hand. Her skin was soft, warm. The contact sent electricity up his arm. Miss Johnson, thank you for coming. Thank you for not having me killed, she replied with that same mischievous smile. I heard that's usually what happens when people spill drinks on you. Was she joking about this? Minjun dismissed his guards. Leave us. When they were alone, Zara walked through the gallery, examining the pieces with genuine appreciation. She stopped in front of a large abstract painting, tilting her head. Li Yufan. From Point Series. 1976. She glanced at him. You have good taste. You know your art. It's my job. She turned to face him fully. But you didn't bring me here to discuss art, did you? Minjun had rehearsed what he'd say. Professional. Controlled. But standing this close to her, smelling her perfume, something floral and exotic, his mind went blank. You're different, he said finally. Zara raised an eyebrow. Different from what? The people who bow when you walk by? The women who probably throw themselves at you hoping you'll notice them? She stepped closer. I'm different because I'm not afraid of you, Mr. Kong. Money and power are impressive, but they don't make you interesting. No one had ever said anything like that to him. What makes someone interesting? He asked. Mystery, she said softly. Pain. The things they hide. You're hiding something. Her eyes searched his face. Something that hurts you more than any scar on your body. Minjun's jaw tightened. How did she see that? How did she see him? Why are you really in Seoul? He asked, deflecting. Business. I told you. Business doesn't make someone laugh the way you did last night. Real, genuine laughter. Like you were free. Zara's expression softened. You noticed that? I notice everything. She was quiet for a moment, then sighed. You want honesty? I came here to escape. My ex-fiancé back in New York, let's just say I found him in bed with my best friend 3 months before our wedding. So I threw myself into work, took every international deal I could find. Seoul seemed far enough. I'm sorry, Minjun said, and he meant it. Don't be. I dodged a bullet. She smiled, but this time it didn't reach her eyes. Though it did make me wonder if I'm just not enough. You know? Not enough to keep someone faithful. He's a fool, Minjun said, his voice harsh. Any man who had you and chose someone else is an idiot who doesn't deserve you. Zara blinked, surprised by his intensity. You don't even know me. I know enough. The air between them thickened. Charged. Dangerous. Why are you really here, Mr. Kong? Zara asked quietly. What do you want from me? Everything, Minjun thought. He wanted to feel alive again. To feel anything. But he couldn't say that. Instead, he said, have dinner with me. Tonight. Is that a request or an order? A request. You can say no. Zara studied him, those intelligent eyes searching for something. One dinner. But I choose the place. Somewhere normal. Not some exclusive restaurant where everyone treats you like a god. Agreed. She smiled then, a real one. Pick me up at 7. I'm staying at the Signal. As she walked toward the door, she paused. And, Minjun. It was the first time she'd used his name. Wear something casual. The scary mafia boss thing is intimidating, but I want to see the man underneath. After she left, Minjun stood in his empty gallery, his heart racing. Jinho appeared from the shadows. Boss, this is dangerous. She's an outsider. The elders will never approve. And if they find out you're involved with a black woman, I don't care, Minjun said. For the first time in 2 years, I feel something other than death. I'm not letting that go. But even as he said it, he knew Jinho was right. This was dangerous. Not just for him. For her. His world didn't forgive weakness. And Zara Johnson was quickly becoming his biggest weakness. What was he doing? Minjun stood outside the Signal at exactly 7, wearing jeans and a simple black sweater. He couldn't remember the last time he'd worn jeans. His driver kept glancing at him like he'd grown a second head. When Zara emerged from the hotel, Minjun forgot how to breathe. She wore ripped jeans that hugged her hips and thick thighs, a burgundy off-shoulder top that showed her collarbones, and white sneakers. Her braids hung loose, and she wore minimal makeup. She looked stunning. Real. Like someone he could actually talk to. You clean up nice, she said, grinning. When you're not scowling and terrifying people. I don't scowl. You're literally scowling right now. Minjun realized she was right and forced his face to relax. Zara laughed, that beautiful sound that made his chest ache. Come on. I found this amazing Korean barbecue place in Hongdae. Very normal. Very crowded. Your security team is going to hate it. She was right. Jinho and 2 guards followed at a distance, looking distinctly uncomfortable as they navigated the bustling streets of Hongdae. Young people everywhere. Music. Laughter. Life. Minjun hadn't been to a place like this in years. The restaurant was tiny, packed with college students and young couples. The owner, an elderly woman, took one look at Minjun and Zara and seated them at a corner table without recognition. Just another couple. It felt strange. Wonderful. So, Zara said as they grilled meat, tell me something real about Kong Minjun. Not the legend. The man. Minjun watched the meat sizzle. What do you want to know? What scares you? The question caught him off guard. Besides you, he said, attempting humor. Zara didn't laugh. She just waited, patient and open. Minjun took a breath. Becoming my father, he said finally. He built this empire on fear and blood. He never smiled. Never showed weakness. Never loved anything except power. And I swore I'd be different, but look at me. I became exactly what I hated. Zara reached across the table and took his hand. The contact sent warmth flooding through him. The fact that you're scared of it means you're not him, she said softly. Your father probably never questioned himself. Never wondered if he was doing the right thing. But you do. That makes you different. Minjun looked at their hands. Dark skin against light. It felt right. Natural. Your turn, he said. What scares you? Being invisible, Zara answered immediately. Growing up as a dark-skinned black girl with curves in a world that told me I was too much and not enough at the same time. Too loud. Too big. Too black. I built my entire life proving I was worthy of being seen. And then Marcus, my ex, made me feel invisible anyway. Like I could be replaced. Forgotten. Her voice cracked slightly. That's my fear. That I'm forgettable. You're not, Minjun said fiercely. You walked into my club, and I couldn't look away. You laughed in my face, and I felt alive for the first time in years. You're not invisible, Zara. You're blinding. Tears glistened in her eyes. You barely know me. Then let me know you. Really know you. They talked for 3 hours. About everything. Her childhood in Brooklyn. His mother's desperate attempts to make him leave this life. Her love of contemporary art. His secret passion for classical music. The more they talked, the more Minjun felt that numbness cracking. Like ice melting after a long winter. When they finally left the restaurant, the streets were quieter. Minjun walked close to her, hyper-aware of every accidental touch.
Thank you, he said.
For what? For seeing me. Not the monster. Not the boss. Just me. Zara stopped walking and turned to face him. You're not a monster, Minjun. You're just hurt. And hiding. Before he could respond, she stood on her toes and kissed his cheek.
Soft. Brief.
Devastating. Good night, she whispered, then headed toward a taxi. Minjun stood frozen, his hand touching where her lips had been. That simple kiss had done more than 2 years of doctors and treatments. He felt something. Want.
Need.
Desire. That night, alone in his penthouse, Minjun's phone rang. Unknown number. Call Minjun, he answered. Boss. The voice was distorted. Modified. You were seen tonight. With the black woman. The elders are not pleased. End this now, or we'll end it for you. The line went dead. Minjun's blood ran cold. They were watching. They always watched. And now Zara was in danger because of him. He should end this. Push her away. Protect her. But even as he thought it, his phone buzzed. A text from Zara. I had fun tonight. Same time tomorrow? I want to show you something. Minjun stared at the message. He knew what the smart thing was. The safe thing. Instead, he typed back. Yes. Because for the first time in 2 years, Kong Minjun wanted to live. Even if it killed him. Even if it killed them both. The next morning, Minjun arrived at his office to find Jinho waiting, his face grim. We have a problem, Jinho said. The elders called an emergency meeting. They know about the woman. And they're demanding you appear before them. Tonight. Minjun's stomach dropped. The elders were the 5 original families who'd built souls underground. They were tradition, order,
Control.
and they would never accept an outsider. Especially not a black woman who made their youngest boss act like a lovesick fool. What do they want? Minjun asked, though he already knew. They want you to end it.
Publicly.
Or they'll do it themselves. Jinho's voice dropped. Boss, you know what that means. They'll kill her. And they'll make you watch. Minjun's hands clenched into fists. They wouldn't dare. Jinho's expression was grave. They would. They've done it before. Remember what happened to Park Sung-ho when he fell for that Japanese woman? They made an example of her. Of him. You were there, boss. You saw what they did. Minjun had seen it. The memory still haunted him. Park Sung-ho had been his mentor, the man who taught him everything about this life. And the elders had destroyed him for loving someone they deemed unacceptable. This is different, Minjun said.
How?
Because she's American? Because she's black? That makes it worse in their eyes. They see it as you spitting on tradition, on purity, on everything they built. Then maybe what they built needs to burn. Minjun growled. Jinho grabbed his arm. Don't say that. Don't even think it. You go to war with the elders, you lose everything. Your position, your empire, your life. Is she worth all that? You've known her for 2 days. Minjun pulled away, but the question echoed in his mind. Was she worth it? He barely knew her. This was insane, reckless. But when he closed his eyes, he saw her smile, heard her laugh, felt her hand in his. And he knew the answer terrified him. His phone buzzed.
Zara.
Morning. Meet me at Bukshin Hanok Village at noon. I want to see traditional Korea. And I want you to be my tour guide. No bodyguards. Just us. Deal? Minjun stared at the message. He should cancel. Push her away. Save her life. His fingers typed without permission.
Deal.
I'll pick you up. Jinho shook his head. You're going to get her killed. You know that, right? Then I'll die protecting her, Minjun said quietly. Because for the first time in 2 years, I feel like a man again. And I'm not giving that up. Not for the elders. Not for anyone. Noon found Minjun in Bukshan, waiting near the traditional Hanok houses, no guards in sight. He'd never felt so exposed. So vulnerable.
So alive.
Zara appeared wearing a flowing yellow sundress that contrasted beautifully against her dark skin. Tourists stopped to stare at her, this stunning black woman walking through traditional Korean architecture like she belonged everywhere. "You came alone," she said, smiling. "Like a normal person." "Don't get used to it," he replied, but he was smiling too. They walked through the narrow streets, Zara stopping to photograph everything. At one point, she grabbed his hand, pulling him into a photo. "Smile," she commanded. "I don't smile in photos. You do now." And somehow, impossibly, he did. An elderly Korean woman selling traditional sweets stopped them. She said something in Korean, gesturing between them, grinning. "What did she say?" Zara asked. Minjun felt his face warm. "She said we look beautiful together. That our children would be stunning." Zara's eyes widened, then she laughed. Well, she's not wrong about the beautiful part. But she didn't let go of his hand. They found a quiet spot overlooking the city, sitting on old stone steps. "Can I ask you something personal?" Zara said. "Yes." "Last night, when you said you felt alive for the first time in years, what did you mean?" Minjun was quiet for a long moment. Then, because she'd been honest with him, he decided to be honest with her. 2 years ago, I was ambushed. My brother died in my arms. I was shot 3 times. I survived, but something inside me broke. Since then, I haven't been able to feel anything. Not anger.
Not joy.
Not. He paused, struggling. Not desire. The doctors say there's nothing physically wrong, but my body just stopped responding. To everything. To everyone. I became numb. Dead inside, while still breathing. Zara's hand tightened around his. "And now I feel everything," he whispered. "When you're near me, when you touch me, when you laugh, I feel alive, terrified,
Human.
and I don't know what to do with it because my world doesn't allow weakness. And you, Zara Johnson, you make me weak." She turned to face him fully, her eyes intense.
No.
"I make you human. There's a difference." Then she kissed him.
Not his cheek this time.
His lips. Soft and tentative at first, then deeper. Minjun's entire world narrowed to this moment. Her lips. Her taste. The feeling of her body pressing against his. And for the first time in 2 years, his body responded. Fully.
Completely.
Overwhelmingly. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Zara's eyes were wide. "Oh," she whispered. "Yeah." Minjun managed, his voice rough.
Oh.
She touched his face gently. "You're not broken, Minjun. You were just waiting. For the right person. For someone who sees you." He pulled her close, burying his face in her neck, breathing her in. "I'm dangerous, Zara. My world is dangerous. You should run from me. Far and fast." "I don't run," she murmured against his ear. "And I'm not afraid of your world. You should be."
Why?
"Because some old men in suits won't approve? Because I'm black and you're Korean and they think that matters? Because they believe in some outdated purity nonsense." She pulled back to look at him. "I've spent my whole life being told I don't belong, that I'm too different, too other. I'm not running because close-minded people are scared of us." "They'll hurt you," Minjun said desperately. "They've done it before. They'll kill you just to punish me. Then we fight," Zara said simply. "Together." Minjun wanted to argue, to make her understand, but his phone rang. Unknown number again. His blood ran cold. He answered. "You have until midnight, Kong Minjun," the distorted voice said. "End it. Or we end her. We're watching. We're always watching." The line died. Minjun looked up. Across the street, half hidden in shadows, he saw a man. Watching them. One of the elders' enforcers. Zara followed his gaze. "What's wrong?" "We need to leave," Minjun said, standing, pulling her up.
Now.
"Minjun, you're scaring me."
Good.
"You should be scared. Because I just made you the most dangerous person in Seoul." He pulled out his phone, calling Jin Ho. "I need a safe house."
Now.
And I need you to find out everything about the elders' movements tonight. Boss, do it. Minjun hung up, his heart racing. Zara grabbed his arm. Talk to me. What's happening? Minjun looked into her eyes and made a decision that would change everything. My organization. The elders who run it. They know about us. And they've ordered me to end this. If I don't, they'll kill you. They've already sent someone to watch us. Zara's face paled, but her jaw set with determination. So, what do we do?
We.
Minjun shook his head. There is no we. I'm putting you on a plane back to New York tonight. You'll be safe there. Absolutely not. Zara, no, she said firmly. I'm not running. And you're not making decisions for me. We figure this out together or not at all. Before he could argue, 3 black SUVs screeched to a stop nearby. Jin-ho jumped out, looking panicked. Boss, we have to move.
Now.
The elders moved up the meeting. They're coming for her. Minjun didn't hesitate. He grabbed Zara's hand, and they ran. The safe house was a modest apartment in Itaewon, the international district. Ironic, Minjun thought. Hiding in the one place Seoul embraced foreigners. Inside, Zara paced while Minjun made calls, his voice sharp and commanding. When he finally hung up, she turned to him. Explain everything. No more secrets. So he did. He told her about the 5 elder families, about their rules, about what happened to Park Sung-ho and the woman he loved, about the empire built on tradition and blood that saw her as a threat to their order. When he finished, Zara was quiet for a long moment. They killed her just because she was Japanese? They killed her because she represented change. Because my mentor chose love over loyalty. And they made sure no one would ever make that choice again. Except you're about to, Zara said softly. Minjun crossed to her, taking her hands. I can't lose you.
Not now.
Not when I've just started feeling again. Then don't, she whispered. Fight for us. Fight for yourself. You said you were scared of becoming your father. Well, here's your chance to be different. To choose love over fear. To choose life over death. It's not that simple. It never is. She cupped his face. But I'm not leaving you. Whatever happens, we face it together. That's what love is. Love. Minjun's breath caught. We've known each other 3 days. And in those 3 days, you've made me feel more seen, more valued, more alive than Marcus did in 3 years. Time doesn't measure love, Minjun. Depth does. And what I feel for you. Her voice broke. It's terrifying and beautiful and real.
So yes.
Love. Minjun kissed her then, pouring everything he couldn't say into it. All his fear, his hope, his desperate, overwhelming need for her. When they broke apart, his phone rang. Jin-ho. Boss, the elders are here. Outside the building. They brought everyone. You need to come out. Now. Minjun's stomach dropped. How did they find them so fast? Stay here, he told Zara. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me. Minjun, please. He kissed her forehead. Trust me. Downstairs, the 5 elders waited in the street, flanked by 30 armed men. Elder Choi, the oldest, stepped forward. Calm Minjun. You've disappointed us. I've disappointed you? Minjun said coldly. Or I've just refused to be your puppet? You bring shame to our organization. Elder Park spat. Consorting with a black woman. Parading her through Seoul like a trophy. Have you forgotten who you are? What we built. What you built, Minjun corrected, is a prison. A system that values tradition over humanity. And I'm done with it. The elders exchanged glances. Then you choose her over your empire? Elder Choi asked. Over everything your family sacrificed for? Minjun thought of his father, his brother, the blood that built this life. Then he thought of Zara's laugh, her touch, the way she made him feel human. Yes, he said simply. I choose her. Then you're a fool, Elder Choi said. He gestured, and 10 men raised their guns. And fools don't lead. Step aside, calm Minjun. Let us handle this mess you've created. Or we put you down with her. Minjun's men stepped forward, weapons drawn. Jin-ho beside him, loyal to the end. The street became a powder keg. One spark, and everyone would die. Then Zara's voice rang out. Stop. She stood at the building entrance, head high, fearless despite the guns pointed at her. Zara, get back inside, Minjun shouted.
No.
She walked forward, straight toward the elders. You want to kill me?
Fine.
But look at yourselves first. You're so terrified of change, of difference, that you'd murder an innocent woman. That's not strength. That's cowardice. Elder Choi's face darkened. You dare, I dare, Zara interrupted. Because I have nothing to lose. You've already decided I don't belong. But Minjun does. And you're so afraid he's choosing something outside your control that you're willing to destroy him. The man who's given everything to your organization. Who's bled for it. Who watched his brother die for it. And this is how you repay his loyalty. The elders were silent. Some of the younger men lowered their weapons, uncertainty in their eyes. Your rules are dying, Zara continued. The world is changing. And you can either change with it or become extinct. But you don't get to dictate who people love. You don't get to decide who's worthy based on skin color or nationality. That ended decades ago everywhere else. Seoul isn't special. You aren't special. You're just scared old men clinging to power. Elder Kim, the youngest of the five, stepped forward. She speaks truth, he said quietly. We've lost too many good men to these old ways. Park Sung-ho, Lee Min-soo. How many more before we admit the rules are broken? You side with them? Elder Choi demanded. I side with evolution, Elder Kim replied. The world is different now. Our children marry foreigners. Our businesses are global. If we don't adapt, we die. Simple as that. The tension held for an eternal moment. Then Elder Choi lowered his weapon. You want her, he said to Minjun. You can have her.
But you step down.
Give up your position. Leave Seoul. Live your little love story somewhere else. That's the price. Minjun looked at Zara. At the empire he'd built. At the life he'd known. Then he smiled. Really smiled. For the first time in years. Deal. Gasps rippled through the crowd. You'd give up everything? Elder Park asked, incredulous. For her? No, Minjun said, taking Zara's hand. For myself. For a chance to actually live instead of just existing. You can have the empire. I choose freedom. 3 months later, Minjun and Zara stood on a beach in Bali, watching the sunset. He wore linen pants and no shirt, scars visible and unashamed. She wore a flowing white dress, her braids dancing in the wind. Any regrets? She asked, leaning against him. Not one. He kissed her temple. You? Just one. He tensed. What? That I didn't spill champagne on you sooner. Minjun laughed, the sound rich and genuine. You know what the craziest part is? What? You didn't just heal my body, Zara. You healed my soul. Made me remember what it means to be human. To feel. To love. She turned in his arms, pressing close. And you made me feel seen. Valued. Enough. More than enough. They kissed as the sun set, two people from different worlds who'd found each other against impossible odds. Behind them, Jin-ho stood guard because some habits died hard. But he was smiling too. Because his boss, his brother, was finally free. Finally alive. Finally whole. That night, as they made love in their villa, Minjun felt everything. Every touch. Every sensation. Every overwhelming wave of emotion and desire. Zara had awakened something in him that 2 years of numbness couldn't kill.
Hope. Love. Life.
I love you, he whispered against her skin. I love you, she whispered back. And for the first time in his life, Kong Minjun understood what it meant to truly surrender. Not in defeat, but in victory. 6 months later, Zara opened her first international gallery in Seoul. Elder Kim attended the opening, a silent acknowledgement that times were changing. Minjun stood beside her, no longer a boss, just a man. A man who chose love. A man who chose life. A man who'd been broken and found healing in the most unexpected place. In the arms of a stunning black woman who'd seen past his scars and found the human underneath. As they cut the ribbon together, cameras flashing, Minjun leaned close. Ready for our next adventure? With you, Zara grinned. Always. Because some love stories don't follow the rules. Some love stories break them. And those are the ones worth telling. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button and join our family. Drop a comment telling us what you felt during Min-Jun and Zara's journey. And if you believe love conquers all, share the story. Because everyone deserves to find their person. The one who makes them feel alive. Until next time, keep believing in love that breaks boundaries.